How's it going? Ali Tarafdar back with a brand new video. It's been a while. I haven't created a video for you guys. So today I wanted to talk about corporate credit, right? Can we use corporate credit to get real estate financing or to do structured financing for purposes of essentially, going into real estate and becoming an investor in real estate? Now, a lot of us, traditionally speaking, what ends up happening is we follow the traditional route, of credit. We use our personal information to sign up for, let's say, a property. We get the mortgage on the property, and then from that perspective, what we end up doing is we usually, become the guarantor of that property. So that's the traditional route of doing real estate. Now, most of us as investors, what ends up happening is we have limitations on what we can do on a personal level. So, for instance, if you start at real estate, the probability of you going out there and closing a deal, in real estate per se, on a personal name is high, because at the end of the day, that's what a lot of creditors look at when it comes to extending financing or mortgages to you. So, in that sense, what's going to happen is they're probably going to do that, and they're probably going to give you the financing that you need. So, with that context, what we have to understand is, okay, well, where does corporate credit fit into all this, right? What can we do on a personal level to make sure that corporate credit plays a key role in the real estate acquisitions that we make? So the first step I'd say is, consider what exactly are you going to be doing with corporate credit, because on a corporation's perspective for underwriting, you can get commercial loans and stuff like that, but you have to put a lot of down payment. So with that said, what are some of the alternatives, right? And I always say, look, if you're going to do real estate, specifically if you're going to do real estate in the sense that, you're coming in and you have a construction side of the business and you're going to be using construction and equipment financing, then corporate credit is a very critical component to your real estate goals. You can use that to go out there and acquire properties and basically, do your financing and get creative with that. On the upside of it, what ends up happening is now you start building more credibility, you start becoming more and more independent in terms of your corporate entity, and of course, you can now close more deals, bigger deals, and make some more cash flow, or at least some good, dollar exit volumes to help you build your wealth. So with that said, I think the biggest and most critical factor in real estate alone is that, corporate credit does play a part, but it plays a part where equipment and financing stand up. There are other traditional back in the days where you'd be able to build a entire corporate structure and just single-handedly use that corporate entity to get the financing that you need. You can do that, obviously, like back in the days, a couple of years, I'd say about like 10, 15 years even, maybe even 7 years ago. But at this point, what's going to end up happening is most property underwriters, when it comes to mortgages and financing, portfolio loans, Fannie and Freddie Mac, all these, institutional sized vehicles to help you build the wealth in real estate, these individuals will require that you have some sort of skin in the game. So with that said, what's going to end up happening is you absolutely need to have, some sort of personal credit involved to do the deals that you need to do, or else, it wouldn't make any sense. So with that said, I think that, corporate credit does play a role. Like I said, if you come in and you have, let's say, equipments that you want to finance, you want to do some construction work, you have a construction company, and that element, corporate credit does play a beautiful role, and I think it can be really useful, but you just have to make sure that you're actually using it right, that you have some sort of structure and a game plan to be able to, comfortably do what you need to do. So with that said, I think that, that's the first thing to consider when it comes to real estate with corporate credit. On the upside of it also, right, as you start getting more and more financing and loans, and you start getting some sort of, credit alterations and technical works done on your corporate side in terms of credit, what you can start getting is leverage lines of credit, and then you can use that as a down payment for some of the properties that you want to acquire. But again, you have to get the cash lines of credit, which means your income has to be produced with stated documentation, tax returns and everything for your corporate entity. That does take a little bit of time. But to start, at least if you start doing transactional real estate on a personal name, if you're doing fix and flips and stuff, start using your LLC. Start showing income in your LLC, start documenting that income, start doing things that'll help, build credibility for you on that corporate entity. And at that point, later down the road, when you want to get cash lines of credit without personal guarantees and stuff like that, at least you have stated income and documentation that you can use that strengthens the core of your corporate entity, in order to get the maximum leverage you need to get the financing and cash lines of credit with nice terms, because hopefully by then your corporate entity stands in a very positive note. So think about that, okay, when it comes to using corporate entity for real estate purposes. Now, in the next couple of videos, I'm going to be teaching and coaching you guys on what are some of the things you can do to build proper business credit, what are some of the architectural framework that you need to work on, and most importantly, how to set it up to start strong from start, right? And not the other way around. So with that said, I think that we can pretty much conclude this video. As you can see, I'm in an office space right now. This is a place that I sit at in Montreal, and I do most of my work out of here. And we do meetings and meetups and presentations for business owners who are looking to exit their positions. So we have workshops that are going to be coming up, both in U.S. and Canada. So I look forward to that. On that note, I think that that was the information I wanted to share with you guys. So once again, to rebrief and restructure the context of what I just discovered for you guys in terms of real estate with corporate credit is, number one, never think about your business as being the single entity that's going to go and acquire real estate without any guarantees. It's going to be your personal guarantee, and in most cases at the beginning. But if you're doing fix and flips and you want to pass money through your entity just for asset protection purposes and you want to build credit on that, later down the road that helps you create a profile that's sustainable and strong enough to basically go out there and get the cash lines of credit that you need for down payments on properties that you can acquire. And with it, if you're doing fix and flips, I'm assuming you want to do 3 or 4 at the same time, just to build massive wealth, find those opportunities. So why not build 4 to 5 entities, build credit on them simultaneously, then build a cash war chest down the road with transactions going and flowing through those entities, and then using that money for some of the down payments you want to do on a larger and bigger property combined, right? So 4 entities can do a partnership agreement together and then put a down payment, and you guarantee that huge loan now. Let's assume you get like $50,000 to $100,000 per entity. That's anywhere between $200,000 to $400,000 in cash that you can put down. Assuming you want to buy a $2 million property, that itself is a good structure to start with. And you can do that within a year's time if you know what you're doing and if you're going into the fix and flip business. So I think that that's what I wanted to summarize with. So again, if you have a construction company or something you want to do, then you want to pass money through and you want to build credit on that can be very useful. But outside of that, most of that real estate stuff is going to be on your personal name. So you just have to be really, strategic about how you go about acquiring properties and what you're going to do about that, okay? So with that said and done, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This is your guide and mentor, Ali Tarafdar, once again. I'll see you next time. Bye for now.